Hi there, we are back once again on United and Everything Football Podcast. I intentionally wore this shirt today because we officially launched our away shirts today. And if you've seen a United trend, our away shirts go, sometimes it's black, sometimes it's blue, then it goes to different colors, but it's normally alternating between the black and the blue. I'm here with Kwame, just the two of us. Just the two of us. Just the two of us.
Like it was right from the start, yeah?
Right from the start. Mm-hmm. Thank you very much for helping us get to this huge milestone. Thank you for helping us reach 1,000 subscribers. We are very much grateful to you for always being the part of us, like I always say. But it's not done yet. Please remember, always hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. Let's grow this community together because we have a lot in store for you on this channel. A lot. So you don't have to miss any of the things that we bring into your way. We are planning a very big convocation of our guests that we'll bring into you. It's getting this close. So please remember to be a part of this channel. Thank you very much for joining us once again. Kwame, how have you been? I see you are in the 2014-2015 shirt.
Louis van Gaal.
Yeah. That's Louis van Gaal's second season. Mm-hmm. Second Adidas shirt. Mm-hmm. This time around, we are wearing a new... It was Chevrolet at that time. Now it's just Snapdragon.
Honestly, it looks much better.
Yeah. It's not a beautiful kit.
It does.
Yeah. The inscription. The TV was too much for me. It was too big.
Yeah, it was just too much. It never wore down on anybody. Team viewer.
But I brought us 2 trophies, you know.
We'll take it.
Hopefully, Snapdragon brings us the Premier League and the Champions League.
It snaps our droughts of not winning the league and then the Champions League. It snaps it, and then we win.
Well. All right,
big trophies.
Yes. Bring us the big trophies. Very, very important. So I'll make a quick turnaround. When I come back, we'll just look at some issues in the transfer window. It's gone quiet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's gone quiet. Maybe we'll try and explain to you exactly what is happening, why things have gone quiet, and why things have happened. And we'll tell you what's happening in the United States. The team has landed in the United States already. As we record, I'm watching MUTV right now, and training session is ongoing. The first training session is ongoing in LA, Los Angeles, yeah.
Yes,
it's already ongoing. So as and when I see anything, I'll just draw your attention or just take you through it. But we'll be discussing that and also a few of the things happening around the preseason, the arrangement. Why are some players being left behind and why are some players on tour? Why Steve McLaren and why some people have left for the US and some are being left. And we'll talk a bit about the redundancies that's happening around the club. And a few things, all right, here on United and Everything Football. So let me make a quick turnaround. When I come back, we delve straight into all the issues. All right, thank you very much. Welcome back once again to United and Everything Football Podcast. Kwame, so the transfer market there was this period, 2-week period of back to back, and it looked as if we were signed every player that was linked to us, but it's still just done too big. And the third signing isn't looking close. We don't know what is going to happen. We don't know what is going to. But it clearly looks as if some things must happen. Some outgoings must happen before we get some players back in to the fold, or we can sign some new players. There's talk of selling McTominay. There's talk of selling Lindelof. There's talk of selling a few more players, selling some midfielders. And I mean, today, Onston reported of Wan-Bissaka refusing to go to West Ham United, but rather prefers a move to Inter Milan. And we are looking at a swap between Denzel Dumfries and then Aaron Wan-Bissaka. It's at the early stage. Nothing has gotten concrete yet to the intermediary. So that's the news that's there. Kwame, generally, your thoughts on this whole transfer, how things were hot and now things are not too hot as we are expecting it.
When the season ended, everybody started calling the Ineos group Glazers 2.0 because they were not seeing any action. And then all of a sudden, there was a flurry of action with new coaching appointments. It started with Erik ten Hag's reappointment, new contract. Then there were new coaches, followed by two very quick signings. And all of a sudden, fans were like, oh, Ineos are the best thing since fried rice. And now things have gone quiet. And then they're thinking, wait a minute, you're back to being Glazers 2.0. But that is the life of every Manchester United fan. And there's a transfer window. Listen, let's just be realistic. Things were not always going to be spectacular all throughout the summer.
Yeah.
Ineos have standard it out that things are not going to be like happening. How do they say it? By the flip of a switch. It's not going to happen.
Like a switch light bulb that you switch on and off.
Yeah, exactly. The squad needs pruning. Let's just be honest. In as much as we need additions, the squad needs pruning for obvious reasons. We've spoken about this several times on this spot.
Maybe people expected us to go the Chelsea way. Sack everybody.
Sack everybody.
Bring in a brand new team.
It's not going to be that easy. It's not going to be that easy because Manchester United, the situation that Glazers had put us in, and what Ineos have to correct is completely different from whatever Todd Boehly and then Chelsea had to take over from Roman Abramovich. Roman Abramovich was not planning to sell Chelsea Football Club. Yeah. He was forced to sell Chelsea Football Club for reasons we don't want to get into. Yeah. And of course, certain obligations the new owner had to sign up to has resulted in them going on this incredible flurry of signings that never seems to stop. But United, the books aren't good. The books have not been good for a long, long, long time. So Ineos have made a couple of signings, but in order to make further signings, it's quite obvious that we have to let some players go. And I think we are looking at players who have at least a year left on their contracts. The likes of Aaron Wan-Bissaka, Victor Lindelof, Scott McTominay, Harry Maguire, and Christian Eriksen, Hannibal Mejbri, those kind of players. Yeah. These players have to make way in order for us to bring players in. It doesn't make sense stockpiling players when some players are going to either force and stay. We've seen that before. You remember Romero, our ex-goalkeeper. He actually ran down his contract while not playing any football at all. Yeah. Pastor Schweinsteiger was supposed to leave and he was just hanging around and just doing whatever they were doing for all summer. It's because we've placed these players on incredible wages that they're never going to get anywhere else and would be comfortable sitting on the Manchester United bench making their money. Yeah. You don't want that scenario. So the squad is full as it is. Aside one position, that is the defensive midfield position that we are light in as much like we just have Casemiro there and then there was nobody else. Every other position in the team has 2 or 3 players. Yeah. As to whether those 2 or 3 players are good enough is the issue, of which I've mentioned some names have to go before we can replace them. We have 5 centre backs as we speak. Yes. Euro is in. We have Martinez, we have Lindelof, we have Maguire, we have Johnny Evans. Yes. If anybody is going to come in, somebody must definitely leave. Yes. Someone has to go. Maguire has 1 year and an extension, 1 year extension. So it's possible the club will go like, okay, you could stay, we activate your 1 year extension. Next year, you have 1 year left and you're gone. Victor Lindelof has to go. Has to, because he just has 1 year left. In 6 months, he can sign for any club in the world that he wants on a Bosman transfer. Yeah. So the club is either going to give him a new contract or he has to leave. And it's obvious they're not going to give him a new contract.
That's true.
Same applies with the name that you mentioned, Aaron Wan-Bissaka. He's not going to be offered a new contract. In 6 months' time, he could sign with any club. So we have to decide what we want to do with him now. Ironically, he's the only senior fullback on tour. We don't have Diogo Dalot there. We don't have Luke Shaw on tour. We don't have Tyrone Malacia on tour. It's just Aaron Wan-Bissaka. And ironically, he's the one who we are looking to move. Yeah. You wouldn't blame him for choosing Inter, would you?
That's true.
Inter Milan, West Ham United. You remember even our ex-captain, Ashley Young,
yes,
went to Inter Milan and won a couple of league titles with them. I think he even went to a Europa League final and all that. Yes. They are Italian champions, for Christ's sake. So people shouldn't go like, oh, you should go to West Ham so that we get Mazraoui. No, it doesn't work that. Yeah. I'm not even a fan of Mazraoui. I'm not. If you ask me whether I'll take a Dumfries swap with Aaron Wan-Bissaka, 100,000% yes. I've been on the Dumfries train for quite some time now.
Yeah.
And if there's an opportunity for us to do a swap, I'll do it because, first of all, it's convenience. Dumfries has just 1 year left on his contract as well at Inter.
Accurate.
So it's just convenient to just do a swap because you can't tell me their value isn't basically the same.
True.
So it solves a problem for us long term. Centre back we've already spoken about. In central midfield, we all know who we are chasing. It's Ugarte.
Yeah.
But then, unfortunately, PSG have put his price in and around 70 million euros.
Yes.
Very, very odd. Considering they bought this player for around 51 million pounds, they want to make a profit on a player who is surplus to requirement. But I think we all know why they're doing it.
Yeah.
There are two reasons, in my opinion. First of all, they want to ward us off from making a U-turn and going for their targets, Neves.
Yes.
That's just how I see it. They're just putting us off by putting a hefty price tag on us so that it tears us from going somewhere else. And then secondly, if they do if, for instance, we are silly enough to pay that silly amount of money, not just them carrying that money and going to pay for Neves anyway. Exactly.
Yes.
So I think what we have to do is we have to buy our time now. The market is such that we have put in bids for players.
Yes.
The likes of the likes of Brand Waite.
Yes.
Brand Waite. And Ugarte. Yet these players are players who have been overpriced by their clubs. Some form of negotiations have to go on before we can get these players.
Yeah.
So I think we just have to be patient a bit. I feel this is rather the real test for Ineos. If you want to find out whether they are going to make any inroads in getting rid of the United tax, this is the time that we will find out. Because let's be honest, they've overpaid for Lenny Euro.
Yeah.
For obvious reasons. We had to. For anybody who has concerns or anything, we had to overpay to get it.
Yes.
We've overpaid slightly for our centre forward, Joshua Zexi.
Yeah.
So that we can also spread the payment over a longer period of time. It's cheaper ironically, it's actually cheaper to pay just a little bit more. But then we've overpaid for two players who had lower valuations compared to when Manchester United went in. So now the question is, if Bayern Munich have put the list price at 50 million euros plus, if PSG is expecting 70 million from Manchester United for Ugarte, if Everton are expecting 70 million pounds from Brand Waite, they are all they have the right to ask for that, because if they look at our first two signings, we have actually overpaid for them.
Yes.
So the question is Ineos going to stand its ground now in trying to change the perception around Manchester United and wipe away what we have always known to be the United tax? We'll live to see. But fans should be patient. See, it's been up and down. I feel like there was going to be a spark getting to the end of the season, a flurry of activity. Yeah. Both incomings as well as outcomings. If you ask me my expectations, what I do expect, I expect us to still sign someone like Matthias de Ligt. I feel like we'll get that over the line.
Yeah.
I feel like there will be a compromise on Ugarte once PSG secure their number one.
And it's looking close. It's looking close for PSG and João Neves, which I think PSG wouldn't want to have these plenty midfielders on their books.
No.
They would definitely find a way. I think the ripple effect will come from PSG, because now PSG are paying 70 million plus adding Renato Sanchez, according to Fabrizio Romano, to get the João Neves deal. Because if you're even valuing Renato Sanchez as 20 million, that's close to the 100 million euros that they want. So that's an expensive. And they are going in for a very good kid, a kid that we all felt would have done a thing or two at United as well. So it's very young, very talented. And so that would create a space for the Ugarte deal to happen. And that's what... A domino effect. That's my feeling from events from that particular situation. And clearly, I think now Ineos feel like, okay, we've done two signings that sort of at least keeps our fan base. They really rose our energies, They should cool down with this while we find ways of, doing deals.
Resolving these issues,
Exactly. We have to get deals done that sort of suits the way we want to get things done. We don't just have to go in there and pay any money that anybody has mentioned.
To be fair to them, it's not like they are not trying. We all know who we are actually. For the first time in a long time, our targets have not been clearer than before.
Yes.
Everybody knows we want Ugarte. Everybody knows we want Matthias de Ligt. Everybody knows that we've put in a solid bid on a couple of occasions for Jarrad Brentwaite.
Yes.
So it's like our targets are clear.
Yes.
Besides these three players, there's also the issue of both the left back as well as the right back, of which Onston has given us clear indications that we are looking to move Aaron Wan-Bissaka.
Yes.
So if we are moving him, definitely we are going to replace. That's where we are now. We are at the point where, aside the defensive midfield position, every person who leaves simply has to be replaced.
That's it.
Once you hear any player moving from any position, that player has to be replaced. That's where we are now.
That's where we are.
So we need a left-footed centre back.
That was what I was going to. It's clear. That one is very clear.
It's clear. It's so clear.
Because the situation there is not good at all, in my opinion. We have Luke Shaw, who can get injured easily. In the first 2-3 games of the season, Luke Shaw can go off injured. Malasia's recovery hasn't gone as quick as we wanted to go.
Yeah.
As it stands, he's remained at Carrington to still undergo rehabilitation and getting himself back, because he's had a couple of setbacks. We would want to see him play again before we can be sure if he's going to be the same player that we bought for the first season. So that's also another key thing that we need to pay attention to. It's very, very important. So the club is doing everything possible to resolve that left-sided central left side
of the. It's very confusing as to what we actually want. The reason is simple. We need a left-footed centre back.
Yes.
And we also need a left back, but we have two left backs. So the ideal situation is to find someone who can
play. Yes,
who can
that's the problem.
That's the problem. So the profile is a profile issue. But then I guess that is why we appointed somebody like Bethel. That's his job.
Yes.
If you should have a whole dossier of players whom you can scout and then pick one out and go like, we should go for that person.
Go in there and get us some players who would come and fill that position. And names
they should earn their money.
Yeah, Hanko from Feyenoord are some of the names. Is one of the names that has come up. He can play. I
take that guy like yesterday.
Yeah, he can play. Already, we had Atletico Madrid went in with a 30 million euro bid that has been rejected by Feyenoord. They are holding out for around 35 million euros. So I'm sure it's one of the price. That's not the price tag. Ineos will be looking at. I'm sure they are looking around somewhere around 20 million or 25 million euros. So it's making it a bit difficult because, truth be told, if you look in there, we have Luke Shaw and then Tyrone Malacia. All things being equal, you would think that these are two left back that should take us. If things are okay, all things being equal, and they are fit, getting another left back is going to create 3 left backs there, and it's going to create a lot of who plays. And
I think that's why they wanted Brantwaite, because he can play both positions.
So that's the idea from the club, wanting a player that can play at left back and also at left centre back. Because even the left centre back with Lisandro Martinez who got injured for most parts last season. So that side of the defense is a problem that we need to resolve. Yeah. So we need to get someone who is fit and can play at left back and can play at left centre back. So that's the situation we find ourselves. And it's become a priority for the club. I feel that is why they are not willing to go over the top for De Ligt. Because when De Ligt comes in, now if one of Maguire or Victor Lindelof goes, we would have Euro and then one other player in there to solve that right side.
Let's assume Maguire says it means Maguire and Euro take care of that position.
Take that position, right? Then you come to the left centre back. You have just Lisandro Martinez, who has injury issues that we need to resolve.
Yeah.
Luke Shaw has
we need a left centre back.
Malacia has injury issues. The other left-sided centre-back we have is John Evans. And we know we can't plan the whole season with Evans. He was even shocked at the number of games he played last season. So we don't want it to get to a point where we have to fall on Evans all throughout the season because, come on, he's 36, 37, getting to 37 years old. We need to do a lot better in that situation. So these are some of the areas that the club would need to resolve in terms of and getting good profiles to be able to fill in that position. I get that the league
fix the defense. Fix the defense.
Fix it. It has to be fixed. It has to be fixed. Because when it's fixed, I tell you, we are going to be that club again. That especially the club that we saw in the first season under Erik ten Hag. I feel things. I just have a feeling we are getting there. We'll be getting back very, very soon.
But Kwame, that's the thing. It's not just the feeling. It's just what we have been.
How things have been.
We have been going up and down. I've showed you the graph. This is what we do. We get 58 points. The next season, we get 71 points.
Yes.
The next season, we get 60 points. The next season, we get 65 points. Yes. And then we drop back to 60-something points. We've been doing that for like 11 straight years. Yes. So if the last season went bad, I think last season we made 60.
Be rest assured.
Be rest assured this season we'll have a good season.
Exactly. So that's
But the problem is what happens after this season. That's always the problem.
Maybe that's why Ineos is here to help us correct that particular situation. But Kwame, let's switch our attention to preseason, and we've discussed the games that have been going there. The team is in the United States right now, preparing and getting themselves ready for 3 games that we'll be playing against Arsenal, against Real Betis, and then against Liverpool. So some intense games in the next 7 days between the first game and then the last game before we come back to England to play in the Community Shield, the final. As Ten Hag calls it, the final.
So it's a trophy. For him, it's a trophy. Every trophy is a final.
But let's look at the preparation. Yes, it's just a shield. Please, you shouldn't come and worry us.
Yeah.
A shield, we know it's like
it's just a shield.
It's a shield. Anyway, so you know what? Maybe in the Dutch league, the shield, their trophy is the shield.
It's a big deal. It's a big deal. Yeah, it's a big deal.
Confusing him. It's just a shield. It's a shield. Anyway.
No, but you remember Jose Mourinho counted the Community Shield as part of a treble. Yeah, so yeah. For the managers who win, every trophy counts.
Every trophy counts. Well, that's it. But let's look at preparation. A lot of players left. We went with a lot of youngsters, but I feel the senior squad, we had a lot of players coming in there. So we would have enough players to play some of these trial games. But one thing is the game model we want to play. Has it been clear to you? Have you had any hints whatsoever the kind of football we want to play this season?
I have not seen enough that is so drastic from what we saw last season.
Okay.
From the first, I didn't watch the first game. The second game, that's the one I watched. I watched most of it. Even that, I didn't even watch the full thing, but I watched most of it. The thing is, I watched the most important part.
Yes, that's the first half.
Which is the first half against Rangers, because that's
how the senior players.
The senior players, that's what I'm trying to say. So from what I saw, what I did see was still remnants of what we were playing last season and then the season before. I'm going to pay more attention to these preseason games to see whether there is any change. But if there isn't any change, I'll just go by what I have always believed right throughout last season, which is it's just going to be a situation of plug and play, where he knows exactly how he wants to play. He wants us to play that way, but doesn't have the right materials to play that way, of which, if we are able to buy more players in the market, of which, if most of our starters stay fit, we'll be able to implement that very game model he's always tried better. Because in the first season, when we were fit, we were more stable and things were much better. Second season, we're all over the place. So in the next 3 games, over the course of just 7 days, I'll just be observing keenly to see whether there is any different game model to what I've seen already. But so far, I've not seen anything different. I think this is going to be the shortest time we've ever spent in the United States. Just a week and a half, and the next thing you know, we are back in the. But then I think we all know why. There's long pre-seasons in the United States and Asia. in as much as it's good financially for the club,
commercial levels,
it can be a huge detriment to you even before the start of the season.
Absolutely.
So I think this time all things have been considered. We will have our obligations to, you know, to be committed to. We have to do them and all those kind of things, but in a very short and limited space of time.
Yeah.
I think we play against Arsenal first.
Yes,
on the 28th.
On Saturday, Sunday, depending on where you are.
And just a couple of days later, we play against Betis. I don't know how we're going to manage that. Whether we'll do it like how we did against Wrexham last season, where we play a bit of youngsters in that game. And then just 3 days later, we're playing against Liverpool. And the next thing you know, we are back in England to prepare exactly for the Community Shield. So it's going to be a very quick turnaround. And like you said in your intro, a lot of the players have been left behind. We have a few senior players there. But then I think there's a program for each and every single player now at the football club to get us in shape before the season starts. And that has been influenced by the Euros and how every player in each country performed. You know, some players will come back before some players and blah, blah. But ultimately, I think the plan is to get everybody fit and ready by the time that the Community Shield game comes around, so that we have like another week to fully prepare the entire squad for the start of the proper season.
Yeah, I've been reading around with regards to the things that we are doing differently going into this preseason, especially in things to alleviate some of the incidents we had last season with respect to the injury situation. They having certain. And said David Brailsford, as we know him, the man of the marginal gains, that every little thing that contributes to success matters. And as a result of that, they are taken seriously. So now the players I hear now there's a threshold for which players are allowed to train and not to train, especially when they are returning from injuries. There's been a whole revamp. Now, the man, Gary O'Driscoll, who is the head of medical science at the club, has led to a whole restructure of the way our medical department works and all of that. So you saw that at some point, Rashford
even the clothes that we wear, I've heard the clothes that we are wearing are different. The times that players are supposed to sleep, a lot different. Even where they are supposed to sleep, nutrition, everything. Bespoke. They call it a bespoke diet.
Yes.
The bespoke diet. This will all count for something. Shouldn't be talk.
Marginal gains. Marginal gains. But that's.
See, I think what they're doing is let's not take sports science for granted. Let's see. There are some things. These are
you're a medical man, so you can.
That's the thing.
More light.
These are small things. But when it comes to the anatomy and physiology of an athlete, if you pay very, very close attention, everything actually does count.
Yeah.
Every single thing does count. If it didn't, then the science wouldn't even exist in the first place. So once the science exists, you must maximize the science. You have to make use of that's the one thing about American sport. I give it to American sports all the time.
Yeah.
When it comes to that, they maximize what sports science can do to the extreme limits. Everything counts. The data counts. Everything counts. Unfortunately, in mainstream Europe, it's a growing thing, but then it hasn't caught up with everybody, even the psychology aspect of it and everything. There are some clubs in England that don't even have a psychiatric department. They don't have a psychologist, nothing. I don't think United even has a psychologist. I don't think we do.
It is now that it is now that this new structure is trying to embed the services of a psychologist to check up with the well-being.
Ralph Rangnick was talking about this about 2 or 3 years ago, and we still haven't gotten it.
That's it.
You see, so all these kind of things, the science of sports, I think we have a lot of catching up to do. Honestly, I don't even know how we fell this far behind. Honestly, like as an elite club like ours, who's supposed to be like the sets the benchmark all the time.
Yes.
I don't know how Manchester United has fallen back in terms of almost everything. Forget about infrastructure.
You should know, because some people,
so way back.
People who were leading the club prioritize business ahead of their core business mandate, which is the football. People put certain things ahead of the others. And that is why we have fell behind in that.
It looks like there's so much to do. It looks like there was so much.
A lot. Because you look at our training grounds, and it was said that it was not fit for purpose. After Sir David Brailsford's
unbelievable
thorough analysis of the place, and I heard Ten Hag say that after the new complex is done, I mean the restructure of the complex is done, it's going to be the best in the whole of England. That's what Ten Hag was saying. Maybe he's in there.
Right now, that's the only thing we should be doing, striving for the best of everything.
Absolutely.
I was looking at videos of the. It's quite embarrassing when you actually think about it. The new Bernabeu.
Yeah.
Good Lord. And recently, I watched a video of a detailed tour of Old Trafford, Old Trafford, the actual stadium.
Yeah.
And we can even post the links for you guys to see.
Yes.
Old Trafford is so old. It's so old.
I have a friend who went there not too long ago, and he kept complaining. He left Ghana, went on a visit, and he was like, "No, this is not it."
See, we shouldn't stop living in the past. It's done. It's done. It's like we have just stagnated as a club on every single front. We are stuck in history and then tradition, and then what is happening? It's like we need a whole, even the fans, as fans, I think we all need to wash our brains and everything should just, we all need restructuring. So that's the club. We all need restructure right now. It's sad, but that's just the state of the football club. Let's just hope that with new ownership, new vision, new ambition, everything just changes and changes rapidly.
It's very important. So Radcliffe has given himself 2 to 3 years. He says if it goes beyond 5 years, then fans become very...
That's a problem, yeah.
So he says in 2 to 3 years, at least we should be competing consistently at the highest level. And that's where we all are. So let's keep the timelines in mind, and let's see how... We should see a steady progress or significant progress.
The graph should start going upwards. It shouldn't be doing
down. No, not again. Not again. And you look at the things that the likes of Dan Ashworth have been talking about. And I'll tell you one thing. I was listening to a podcast on Dan Ashworth. Yeah, I'm a big Dan Ashworth fan. And he was talking about this whole psychology thing. He said it wasn't a thing. When he was at Brighton, they had to introduce the whole psychological well-being part of their... He had to convince the CEO of the club to make some financial commitments to it. And it was not just for the players. It was for the whole staff, because the people that work with the players also go through stuff. So there should be some sort of a well-being program that helps them and that helps the players. And all of these things are the marginal gains that David Brailsford is so huge on. And it's very important for us to be able to get to that level and function as a club that we want to be. We need to fix all of these things. It's very important. We can't be that top club without having to fix some of these things. And you get what? When you fix these things, the success becomes automatic, because everybody walks into a world-class sporting environment where there are certain standards required of each and every person, from the floor man to the man at the highest level. And what they are trying to do is to set the tone so that everybody in that club can follow. Where it's a world-class environment, the standards are high, and that's what this new administration are seeking to put in place. And that's what the likes of Dan Ashworth, the likes of Jason Wilcox, the likes of Omar Barada are trying to, try and fix all of these things. It's very important. We can't be a world-class sporting... we can't create a world-class sporting environment and not thrive. It doesn't work that way. When you create it...
It will become automatic.
It's just there. It comes. Because it will show the quality of players that you bring in, what they come to see, what they come to feel, what they come to experience.
What they come to see and what they come to experience. Very important.
It's very important.
I think this is why it's always gone against us. You see agents come in with their players, and what they come to see and experience is what dictates how these players end up behaving, how the agents as well end up behaving. They walk into a club and all of a sudden they realize our standards are all over the place. We don't know what we are doing. We are just throwing money here and there. We are all over the place.
And everybody
That's exactly how the players and the agents will conduct themselves.
That's it. So the tone has to be set right. That you are walking into a world-class environment. And that's why Ten Hag actually suffered. because he became a one-man champion.
Every other manager, even before him.
Every other manager. So that is why we have to give them all the backing. I mean, the new structure, the backing, and they have the power. And that's why Ashworth is saying that they are not going to rest until they get it done. And we are going to put pressure on them in various ways so that they get it done.
Speaking on Manchester United stuff, I think we should touch on the redundancies.
Yeah, we have just about 2 minutes to go, so let's quickly touch on that.
Redundancy. See, as for redundancy, it touches everybody everywhere. Yeah. When there's a new marshal in town, this often happens. It's nothing new. And we're overstaffed. Let's just be honest. I think there was a stat that showed the comparison of Manchester United staff to other elite football clubs in the league.
You were there.
I think the next highest was like 900. We have like 1,500 staff.
We have 1,200. That's what we have.
1,200 and something. Yeah, and I think they want to let go of 250. So it goes below
the 1,000.
Below 1,000. Exactly. And in any business, if there's not productive work, and you can reduce the number of staff and still churn out that level of productivity or even more, who wouldn't want to do that?
True.
So it's just about in order. It's just unfortunate that some people will lose their jobs, but it's just like in any other line of work, in any company, people almost always lose their jobs when there's a new marshal in town. So
so take it from me. I'm an HR person. I've conducted redundancies for companies that I've worked with. And I've worked with big multinational companies, and you've always had to involve and inform people that, unfortunately, your services are not needed. It's one of the most difficult parts of the work that I did, and it wasn't easy. And you always have to, because you consider people going back, the economies that they are in, the families that they are going to, who depend on them. But sometimes you also have to understand the company, where they are coming from, because they are operating with resources. Now, the resources has to be maximized. And the resources are not maximized, you'll be working in waste. So there should be always a balance. And that is why, from the human side of it, it's tough. And we commiserate with everyone that is going through this whole redundancy. And if you are watching us and you're a part of it, it's not an easy task. All we pray is that you get better opportunities to be able to maximize your opportunities.
Yeah, you have Manchester United on your CV. You never know this guy.
It's just like that. So it's hard, but the club has to run, the club has to operate, the business has to go on. And it's like that. Yeah, we get all the arguments, and the players and other people are making a lot of money. And
the players are the main actors here. They're the ones bringing money into this football club.
Yes.
If anything at all, the argument should be made against players running down their contracts.
Okay.
The names we've mentioned already, like Wan-Bissaka, they have to go. So let's end it here. Let's end it here.
All right, thank you very much for watching this, the United and Everything Football Podcast. Remember to hit your subscribe button and then do everything for us. We appreciate you. We'll see you on the next one. Maybe United Today before another podcast comes out your way. Have a great time. See you. Bye-bye.